Hello, welcome to today's video where I'll take a quick look at the price of Injective and then I'm going to talk a bit about Dymension. I'm going to take a look at the dashboard as well, just to kind of show you what it looks like in case you haven't already seen it. And just to kind of give you my thoughts on Dymension so far, because things haven't been going great in terms of price action. Now, I'm not saying the team aren't working hard. Of course they are. They're constantly posting on X that they're creating new features. And so you can expect, more development in the coming months with Dymension. It is very young. After all, it's just been recently airdropped to TIA stakers. And so I want to talk a bit about that and just kind of share what I think is actually happening, But first, I'm going to talk about this trade on Injective that I took. Now, the last time I took this kind of trade, I got knocked out. And so I thought, this is a good opportunity to replay this and see if it plays out this time. It doesn't invalidate my theory because, as you can see, we've got a double top here on the 1 minute chart for Injective. We went to around 44.30 here on two different occasions, okay? And then it made another attempt to go high after it had this nice pullback here of just over $1, which was quite a pullback if you're trading with high enough leverage. And, seeing this attempt to go higher and failing, this was a clear sign for me to just make an entrance here. Now, I am scalping, so I only look at the shorter time frames when it comes to these charts. I look at the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 15 minute, sometimes the 30 minute and the 1 hour. My entry is actually at 43.89. I've got a stop at 44.30, which is here. And then I've got a take profit at 42.21. And I'll explain why I set the take profit at 42.21. Because I've got this setup here with these moving averages. And normally what happens is on the 5 minute chart, these moving averages are so well respected for the majority of the time that, when I say well respected, I mean that we're getting a lot of bounces. The candles tend to bounce as soon as the price reaches the area of this moving average. This is the smoothed moving average, and this is the 100-day one. And so this is the 50-day, the green one, and then the 21-day is the white one. And so because we've already had constantly nice bounces here of the green one and even the white one, right? We had one nice bounce of the white one here, which was when he had this pullback, the initial pullback. And so I'm thinking, it could potentially bounce again of the white one, but it might not. It might just continue to go down. And so what I think is even if it does go down to the green one and then it bounces again, it's less likely that it's going to put in a higher high than this, given that it was failing to do so here and it started going down. And so I just decided to take my chances here because the probability is in my favor right now. And so what I'm going to do is when I'm going to see it around $43.10, because I'm going to be watching this, I'm going to be taking 50% off the table because the risk to reward ratio is quite good for me right now. Like I'm losing $160 if this goes against me, basically if it breaks this high here of 44.30. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the stop loss to break even, okay, just to take the risk off the table. And I'm going to take 50% off the table as well. So that way it's a gain no matter what happens, right? I like to do that. Sometimes it's not great because you can end up giving a lot back. If it goes against you, it knocks you out. You're out at break even with that 50% profit, of course. And then it continues to go lower and it hits your target. But that's the life that I personally prefer to take this route. And I normally don't do like a 3-or when it comes to my profit taking. I like to do 2-or because I feel that that's safer. There are actually more chances that that's actually going to happen as well, rather than the 3-or. The 3-or is usually quite difficult to reach. But so what I think is going to happen is eventually we are going to see a touch of this 100-day moving average. I'm not sure if it's going to be immediate here. It could be, bouncing around a bit, but I'm expecting this to eventually go lower. And so what I think here is because if we look at where the price could be here, right, 42.33 is this area here. But I mean, if this continues to go a little bit higher, we could even see 42.42. But sometimes what happens is we don't exactly bounce exactly off this moving average. Sometimes we end up going lower, as you can see is the case here with the green one and even with the white one. But what I had looked at here is where do we have some area of support. Now it's unlikely that it's going to go all the way down here to 40.70 area. Now the market is quite bullish right now, as in today, right? It doesn't mean that tomorrow it might not go back down. Of course it could. But for now, it is quite bullish. And so I'm thinking, it's probably going to bounce off that moving average, but it will encounter some sort of support around this area here. And we can see like the last high that we had here was at 42.12. And so I've put my take profit at 42.21 just to be on the safe side, to give it a bit more room, because I don't necessarily think it might hit this. It might do, but just in case it peekaboos just a bit above it, right, at least I can get out then. But I'm going to be watching this. So, you know, if I see that there's any sort of like bounce back or something at like 42.40, 42.50, I'd be happy to just exit the trade right then, rather than give it back completely, you know. So that's why you just gotta play these things out and hope for the best. Now there are of course different strategies that you can play. Like I could have played this strategy here where we bounced off the 50-day moving average and just waited it out, you know, and then I would have gotten out around here, maybe even higher, because most of the time when it touches that moving average, like the 50-day one, you usually see a bounce. And it's the exact same with the red one, with the 100-day. Sometimes you see a bounce, right? Not all the time, but most of the time you do. And so, you know, all you can do as probability traders, because that's what we ultimately are, is we can just take a chance and just say, okay, well, we think this could potentially reach it, given that what has happened before. Again, we can't always be right. This thing could just shoot up and it'll knock me out, but the risk to reward ratio right now is quite good. And so I feel pretty good about this trade. It doesn't mean I'm 100% confident, but I'm pretty confident. And so, you know, I'm still practicing right now. I'm still trying things out. That's why I'm not doing it with large amounts. Like I always risk like around $100 to $150. And then like when I take profit, I usually try to take $200 to $300 profit. And sometimes I end up taking less if I get 50% off the table if I'm watching it. Like if I'm not watching it, I just let it run and I go back to it. I'll usually see either a win or a loss. So yeah, that's that about Injective. But let's move on here and talk about Dymension. So Dymension has been on a constant dump here, and it is disappointing given that people have been hyping the heck out of this. Like when it first got listed, you could see here it was trading at around what, $5, right, when it got listed, and then it went all the way up to like $8, as you know, $8.68 here before the downtrend started. And this was a nice kind of a double top here, I would say, not exactly, but close enough to it because of the formation here. So it put in a high here around $8.40, and then it tried again here under $8.64. A lot of people decided to stake it in the hope that they're going to get some airdrops. And so as you can see, the market just did its thing, right? The market just started dumping, and it dumped more and more and more and more. And this is what happens, right? And then the team are kind of hyping us up with these airdrops. But until we get confirmation, for now, it is in that downtrend because we are trading underneath the 21-day moving average. And this is on the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, we're in a downtrend. On the 1 hour, if we look on the 1 hour, we're still in a downtrend as well. So we're not doing that great, to be fair, not even like on the 5 minute. On the 5 minute, we're also on the downtrend. So we're on the downtrend in quite a few scenarios here. Like this could have been a nice trade here. For example, look, it touched the 100-day moving average, and this was a great short opportunity here. And as you can see, it went to 575. So you would have entered a short here around 589. And you would have gotten around 575 or maybe even lower. But I mean, you could always have set a stop loss a little bit higher here just to give it enough wiggle room in case you're wrong and in case it does end up going higher. But if it doesn't, because most of the time when it touches this 100-day moving average, it usually bounces down on a downtrend. I've seen this multiple times. Just like on the uptrend, you get the opposite. You get the reverse, right? You get the bounce off it and boom, up it goes, right? In this case, it's going down. And so yeah, as you can see here, we haven't been able to touch the 100-day moving average on multiple occasions, and it looks like it is preparing to go down lower again. So it is unfortunate. Now looking at the fundamentals here, on the 26th of February, they had announced that we're waiting, like they've basically posted an hourglass here with a play, evolve, repeat, roll up soon. So the roll ups is coming, right? NIM network. And it could also airdrop us something, right? So NIM network could airdrop us something. NIM network is coming soon on Dymension, as you can see there. So we're not getting too much information right now. I forgot to follow these guys. Actually, I probably should. But yeah, we're not getting information right now. It's still early. Looking at the actual Dymension portal, okay, this is the dashboard. 150 million are in circulation, 46.8% are investing, 383.4 million on-chain governance. Quite a lot of them have been bonded as well, right? This is the bonding ones. 570 million have been bonded. There's a 10% inflation, and 435 million are unbonded in total, with a staking APR of 17.6%, which is quite decent. It actually beats Atom's staking APR right now. And there's 841,000 addresses at the moment. So I mean, it's pretty basic. You can stake it directly through their portal, or you can use a Kepler wallet or Leap wallet. It depends what you want to do. Now looking at the rolled up section, there's nothing here. Okay, the draft is coming soon. In the meanwhile, explore the roll-ups on Froppyland testnet. Okay, it is on testnet. Right now there are no roll-ups, so I am expecting Dymension to do well price-wise once they announce the release of these roll-ups. But until then, the price is pretty crappy. So I'll be looking at more shorting opportunities personally until we see this announcement. Of course, if it does happen and you're in a trade at a time, you're going to get kicked out of the trade. That's why you need to manage your risk properly. And there's also a bridge here. Then they've got the basic DeFi functionality of the token swap here, and also the different pools. Okay, and this is if you want to add liquidity. It's for liquidity provisioning. Dymension TIA, Dymension USDC, Dymension Atom. There are also the assets here. So these are all the different assets that are available on the Dymension portal. And then there's the IBC bridge here, where you can cross-chain swap from one zone to another zone. Okay, this is a typical feature of the cross-chain interoperability that Cosmos is offering us, just like we've seen with Polkadot's HRMP's channel. When you do those XCM transfers, that's what you call them over there. Here it's the IBC transfers, okay, the IBC bridge. And so this is pretty much it here, like with Dymension. Again, I'm not like ruling this out completely. It's a shame because I do think that a lot of the airdrop hunters have gotten out of this, you know, because they saw the price do really well. It went from $5 to over $8, and they probably saw a good opportunity to take some profit off the hype. And it is pretty evident that something has been going on, because something doesn't just dump all the way down like from $8.50 to $5.70 just like that. It basically went all the way down to the listing price, or close enough to that listing price, right? Given what Bitcoin's price is right now, I mean, that is quite low, because if Bitcoin was to dump right now, you can expect Dymension to go down a lot more, right? A lot more, and I'm talking even below the listing price. Thank you for watching. Have a nice weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.